Mainit na balita.
I am of strong belief that the establishment of the Maharlika Investment Fund is totally unjustified. The main problem here, Mr. President, when the government controls a large pool of money in a setting more like a private corporation, it becomes difficult, very difficult to track how that money is being used and whether it is being used in the best interest of the people. What is certain is the MIF will lead us to the road to debt, and more debts, like as if we are not yet swimming in an ocean of debt of more than 13 trillion pesos.
Alam mo, meron tayong Maharlika Investment Fund. Ano ba yung Maharlika Investment Fund,
Ito
Nelson?
po yung pondo na kinalap ng gobyerno mula sa iba't ibang mga sources para gamitin sa pagnenegosyo at kumita ang gobyerno.
Hindi ko nagkakaroon, mga 200 data eh.
200 billion pesos.
200. Ang hindi nila pinapaliwanag ngayon, sa 2 taong mahigit,
Oo nga, matagal na. Oo.
hindi nila ito na-invest. So in 2 years' time, natulog ang pera mo. Nasaan ngayon ang paggalaw ng ekonomiya?
Talagang lalong tumitindi ang mga kaganapang nangyayari ngayon sa Administrasyong Marcos. Matapos ang halos 2 taong paghihintay mula ng formal na maghain ng petisyon sa Korte Suprema, sina Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel at ang mga miyembro ng Bayan Muna Party List ay tuluyan ng dininig ng kataas-taasang hukuman petisyong questionin ang konstitusyonalidad ng batas na nagtakda ng Maharlika Investment Fund. 2023 pa ito nirereklamo ni Pimentel at binanggit pa nga niya ito sa kanyang petisyon na di umano ay isang sako ng naghihintay maganap at talagang lubhang mapanganib na batas. Sa mahigit 60 pahina ng petisyon, ay dinitalye nila ang mga posibleng panganib na maaaring maidulot ng nasabing investment fund sa ating ekonomiya lalo pat nakasentro ito sa usaping pinansyal ng ating bansa. Matatandaang natalakay din ito ng batikang kongresista at abogado na si Congressman Rodante Marcoleta at ibinunyag na di umano ay makalipas ang 2 taon mula nang maitatag ang Maharlika Investment Fund ay magpasa hanggang ngayon hindi pa rin nai-invest ang bilyong-bilyong pera na kinalap nila mula sa iba't ibang sektor at tila nalulugi pa di umano. Sa isang briefing ay sinabi na nga ng tagapagsalita ng Korte Suprema na nakatakdang maganap sa Baguio Compound sa darating na ika-22 ng Abril ang oral argument para sa nasabing petisyon.
Parang hinahanapan nila ng mali ang NGCP, kaya tuloy sa conclusion ko, pero pag gustong bumili ng NGCP, meron bang negosyante
Yun ang nakikita kong layunin eh.
Ganito
kasi,
ba?
ganito yan. Although nasagap ko na sa grapevine, parang doon papunta eh.
Ayun, gustong i-buy out ang ano.
Naalala mo, meron tayong Maharlika Investment Fund.
Meron.
Ikwento mo muna, ano ba yung Maharlika Investment Fund,
Ito
Nelson?
po yung pondo na kinalap ng gobyerno mula sa iba't ibang mga sources para gamitin sa pagnenegosyo at kumita ang gobyerno.
Sige pa, baka may...
At ang isa sa mga interest nila, kung hindi nagkakamali, ay itong bilhin ang NGCP. Di ba?
pero sige pa, baka... Ano pa?
Yun lang ang naunawaan ko doon.
Yun na. Totoo naman ang sinabi ni Nelson. Tingnan mo ano sinabi mo? Nangalap.
Opo.
Nangalap nga.
Inipon yung pondo. Nilagay lahat sa Maharlika Fund. Opo.
Parang kumuha ng 50 billion sa Land Bank.
Opo.
Kumuha ng 25 billion sa... Anong pangalan?
Central Bank.
Hindi. Development Bank. DBP. Opo. Tapos yung pang nakakuha rin sa iba. Parang, kung hindi ko nagkakaroon, mga 200 data eh.
200 billion pesos.
200.
Opo.
Pero, ang hindi nila pinapaliwanag ngayon, sa 2 taong mahigit,
Oo nga, matagal na.
hindi nila ito na-invest.
Wala ho ba? Akala ko pa naman to, mula noon hanggang ngayon, gumagalaw na.
Kumikita.
Wala in-invest. Kinakailangan kasi, in-invest mo na yon.
Oo nga po.
So yung perang kinalap mo, sabi ni Nelson, kumita ba?
Well, umaasa ko ngayon kung kumikita na yon. Dapat.
Hindi, teka mo, kumita ba?
Wala hong nire-report.
Kasi kung inano mo sa bangko yon, halimbawa, siguradong nilagay lang nila sa bangko.
Ay, di kumita na ngayon yan.
So, palagay mo na, hindi siya kikita dyan eh. Sang-ayon doon sa objective na kinakailangan kasi, kaya ka nga nagtatag nung gano'n, parang sovereign guarantee. Parang sovereign fund yun eh. No?
Yeah.
Opo.
Para sa gano'n, yung paglalaga ka nun, makapag-create ka ng isang malaking factor sa ekonomiya. Halimbawa, pagmulan ng trabaho. Ganyan.
Yes, opo.
Ma-activate mo, ma-spur mo yung galaw ng ekonomiya.
Opo.
Yan ang layunin nun. Oh.
Pero kung kasi hindi...
Nilatag mo sa bangko,
Tulog yun.
tulog yun. Pinaka, ano mo, palagay mo na. Sige,
maliit
palagay mo
nakita
na.
ko yun kahit paano.
200 billion, palagay mo, 1.8%.
Per annum.
Kasi alam ko yun, parang hindi... Baka sa bonds lang inano yun eh. Hindi pa eh. Alam ko hindi sa bonds eh. Palagay mo treasury bills halimbawa.
T-bills, opo.
Okay. Palagay mo na meron siyang 2%.
Nakita yung 200 billion.
Di akala mo kumita siya, no? Akala mo kumita. Palagay mo merong kitang sa loob ng 2 taon. Palagay mo kumita ng
mga 100 to 200 million.
Hindi naman siguro. Mga 75
Million?
Wala, siguro 70 to 75 million halimbawa din.
Okay.
Halimbawa lang. Could be 50 million. O yung overhead nun.
Yung mga taong nandun nga naman.
Mayroong nagbabantay nun. Alam mo kung magkano ang sweldo nung magkano yung sweldo
presidente nung
director.
Yung pinakabantay doon.
Opo.
Mga financial wizard siguro yan.
Yes po.
2.5 million naman.
Totoo yun.
Ganun ho ba?
2.5
Million naman.
times 12.
20, mga 25 million.
Times 2. 2 years na eh.
Mga 50 million din po.
Di wala rin.
Lugi nga.
Sa presidente pa lang yun.
Meron pang may mga ano yun eh. Ano sinasabi natin? Ano ang impact nun? Kung hindi mo inagaw yun sa Development Bank of the Philippines saka sa Land Bank, sila yung nagpapautang sa mga maliliit na negosyo. Ito yung nagpapagalaw ng ekonomiya natin.
Gumalaw sana.
Di ba? So in 2 years time, hindi man lang napagalaw ang ekonomiya, natulog ang pera mo, ngayon naisip nila, bilhin natin yung NGCP.
Ganun.
Anong magiging problema pagka yun? So sige, nabili mo kunwari yung NGCP. Makakaragdag ba ng employment? Hindi. Pareho lang, ikaw lang magpapatuloy nun eh.
Kasi meron na silang tao naman.
Mabuting kung halimbawa yung taong ilalagay mo, talagang marunong, baka mamaya.
Kabisado yung
baka lalo
pagpapatakbo
tayo
naman.
magkagulo-gulo kung ang pinag-uusapan dyan. Nasaan ngayon ang paggalaw ng ekonomiya?
Ang akala ko pa naman kung hindi lang nila binabalita, meron ng mga investments na pinasok itong Maharlika Investment Fund.
Wala.
Hanggang ngayon
Tsaka
ba?
dapat naririnig natin. Ang isa sa alam ko dyan, sila magpopondo ng infrastructure.
Mga big tickets infrastructure sa Pilipinas, projects, di ba?
Kaya sinasabi ko nga kay Nelson, pagka ikaw ay napunta sa Senado, Nelson, isa yan sa ipatawag mo agad.
Papatawag ko talaga yan.
Opo. Saan na napunta yung 200 billion, ano?
Kinakailangan magpaliwanag ka kasi pera ng ating ating mamamayan, di ba?
As minority leader in the Senate, I will not shirk away from my duty to constructively criticize all proposed measures that can adversely affect the future of our nation, which includes the youth, our children, and grandchildren. I am of strong belief that the establishment of the Maharlika Investment Fund is totally unjustified. Forcing it, therefore, presents significant risks and concerns that cannot be ignored. The MIF bill will have far-reaching effects on our economy and the future of our country. The MIF's promised land full of bread, honey, and wine may or may not happen. But what is certain is the MIF will lead us to the road to debt, and more debts, like as if we are not yet swimming in an ocean of debt of more than 13 trillion pesos. What is most certain in the midst of all these uncertainties to be brought about by the creation of the MIF is that the endless road to their promised land will be built with the blood, sweat, and tears in the form of the hard-earned taxes paid by every Filipino. Mr. President and my dear colleagues, before I dwell more into that, I would like to bring to the attention of the body a grave procedural error that this chamber has committed. Having read the final version of the committee report more than once, I am more convinced now that the proper committee where the bill should have been referred to at the very start should have been the Committee on Government Corporations, not the Committee on Banks. We have to correct this, as process is as important as substance. The bill is about the corporate formation of the Maharlika Investment Corporation. Corporate concepts dominate the proposed bill. There is hardly any banking concept that is mentioned in the bill. Under Section 13, Rule 10 of the Senate Rules, the jurisdiction of the Committee on Banks, Financial Institutions, and Currencies are all matters relating to banks, financial institutions, government and private currencies, capital markets, mutual funds, securitization, coinage, and circulation of money. On the other hand, the jurisdiction of the Committee on Government Corporations and Public Enterprises is all questions affecting government corporations, including all amendments to their charters, the interests of the government in the different industrial and commercial enterprises, privatization. The primary intention of the measure is to create a corporate body to be known as the Maharlika Investment Corporation. It does not directly involve matters relating to banks, financial institutions, government and private currencies, capital markets, mutual funds, securitization, coinage, and circulation of money. Its dealing with banks, financial institutions, etc., if at all, is a mere effect or consequence of its corporate purpose or existence. The main problem here, Mr. President, is when the government controls a large pool of money in a setting more like a private corporation, it becomes difficult, very difficult to track how that money is being used and whether it is being used in the best interest of the people. How do we avoid politically driven investments with an advisory board and a board of directors that are primarily political appointees? Certainly, under this setup, the Maharlika Investment Corporation cannot be run 100% professionally, as politics will surely creep in. As politics will surely creep its way in. And since we are on the topic of the advisory board, with all due respect, looking at its composition, can we say that the advisory board members are really better than the members of the MIC Board of Directors at what the MIC is supposed to do? Also, in Section 29, on the powers and functions of the advisory board, under paragraph D, the advisory board can perform other functions, duties, and responsibilities as it may deem necessary. This is again problematic, as we will empower a body to give itself more powers. This is violative of the grant by the Constitution of the legislative power to Congress. We cannot delegate to the advisory board the power to legislate on the extent of its own powers. I earlier asked if the members of the advisory board are better than the members of the board of directors at what they are supposed to do. We can only answer this if we know and are very clear about what the MIC, MIF is supposed to do. Is the Maharlika Investment Fund a mere investment fund, a mutual fund, an asset management fund, a hedge fund, a private equity fund, a venture capital fund? Is the MIC a holding company, a real estate firm, a bank? Looking at Section 14 on allowable investments, the MIC/MIF can be all of the above. But it cannot be all of the above because it is simply impossible to be all of the above, because these different types of investments, business activities, and commercial transactions require and demand different kinds of expertise. Sa demokrasya, hindi bawal ang mangarap. But under a democratic system, the people can demand that their policy makers be realistic. According to the president of the Foundation for Economic Freedom, they are investing blind. They don't even know what the business plan is, and yet they're investing. So that's really a problem. It's not very clear what it's really for.